All right, Ryan's Midlife Crisis Journal, day 68 or so. So what's on my mind today was, for the main part, the main thing on my mind is the idea that, well, I'll say that a lot of marital problems, and in turn probably midlife crisis problems, can be solved by just being adults, as in don't over dwell on childhood stuff because it's in the past. And see, the reason why, obviously, what I've done through a lot of this is I've thought about childhood stuff to try and understand why I think the way I do. And I think there's a difference between like therapy and like wisdom of elders in a way, because I think wisdom of elders would be just kind of like the solution to stuff, offers solutions to problems people have faced in the past, to the extent that they're similar. For example, maybe just leaving your childhood in the past. Sorry if I keep rubbing my face. Treating your childhood as something that's in the past, and just, buckling down and just being an adult about stuff is one way to get through, any angst of middle age. And alternatively, therapy is more of understanding yourself so that you can do, I guess you could say, like, be an adult, but with less effort and discipline required, because you want to do it on your own. But the thing is, the downside is if you don't go through all the way with the therapy thing and figure things out, I can understand that you end up just not solving anything, and you become more childish because you become, hyperfixated on what you were like with things that develop in your adolescent years. I think to an extent, who you are as an adult is a mix of, obviously, your life experiences and genes, and disproportionately life experience from when you were a kid. So if you want to understand yourself, you do have to do inner child work. But I also think it's funny. It's because, like, life is too easy these days too. Getting back to some of the things I talked about earlier in these journals, where I don't know if it's that I don't need to be an adult to survive in a way. It's like, I talk about the two personalities that I supposedly think I have, not literally, but figuratively. I have my ambitious a personality that wants to accomplish things and create a notably better life for my kids in, like, financial terms than I have. And then I have the more reactive part, which is more so, we are able to squeeze the most enjoyment out of a day while still not letting the deadline slip. But I think it's more so that side. Maybe that is actually, ironically, the inner child in a way. And that side just needs to be heard but not listened to as much. Yeah, I think I don't know, it's all coming back down to me to the same question is, should I have a mission? Do I need a mission or not? I'll say this, my wife and I are considering having a fourth kid. Now, I wouldn't say that if anyone I knew personally was likely to come across this video, because you usually don't announce that until you're at least like 10 weeks pregnant or so. And when we talked about that, it was the first time that my recurring dream, which is of me, like, trying to find a hiding spot from a giant, ever resolved itself, where I didn't end up finding a hiding spot, but I stopped needing to hide from whatever, unnamed threat was over the horizon. And it would work out that if I didn't do like a small business or something like that, or start a business, that, and what do you know, kid number 4 is on the way within a month and a half, it would work out, because that means basically my wife's going to potentially go through, the vast majority of 9 months feeling like crap. So I'll be both working and dadding way more than I am now. And in that situation, it's pretty easy to do away with any inner child or reactive personality in a way, because you have to be proactive to survive, which is more like what life was like, for most of human history. I would like to think that humans are more than just creatures of survival, and that when able to survive easily, there's not much left. But it's not always obvious that's the case. And finding higher level callings, maybe that's what the giant is in my dreams. Because I would truly have, if I had something like that, I would have to do away with a lot of the creature comforts that I've gotten very good at attaining, and a lot of my intellect has been used towards trying to make possible. If I did that, while at the same time playing with my kids enough, they can help figure out what their purpose is earlier in life than I did. So I'll have at least the talents that I have. And that's truly becoming apparent in a lot of ways. So maybe something like that's the answer. I mean, I really do think that whatever I do, I got to be able to do it while still maintaining time for family stuff. And probably the most painless way to give up on, self, just like, for example, playing games, is to make game playing like almost a job in a way. And a lot of people don't like that, but I might not dislike that as much as other people. Maybe that's a bit of a form of maturation in a way, is consciously turning was more of like a comfort into just a venue for development. It's almost like, maybe my life example is more common than I thought, where as a kid I didn't I had more people to play games with growing up, that I wouldn't feel the need to my sights would be on other places, or I wouldn't feel such a burning desire to do that as an adult. And by playing with kids enough and helping create situations where kids can just kind of, either play games or otherwise. It's like a problem that maybe not a lot of people have seen, and I've seen it. I can see a lot of people too get really into sports when they're in adults too. Maybe because it was sports, things were like taken too seriously or not seriously enough when they were a kid. Like they didn't get that right mix. Sports and games I think are pretty related in a lot of ways too. Sports angle is interesting. I also see a lot of people, as much as I love sports throughout my life, it can be a little bit weird how much some other guys around my age like it, disproportionately so when they don't have any kids too. I feel like they have to get into something like that, but it's not that I grew out of sports, it's just the sports watching, I really enjoy it. Something changed to me and I haven't fully understood that. Maybe that's tomorrow's journal. But for today, I guess to recap it a bit, I guess the answer is, the question is whether or not it's just time to grow up. And what that means. Day 68 or whatever the fuck this is in the books.